Hello again. Today I'm going to be making pad Kra Pao Thai basil stir fry, my version. So I'm going to start off here by slicing up some red pepper, and I'm just using regular bell pepper. You could also use chilies if you really like it spicy. I'm going to be adding some garlic chili sauce later on, so I'm going to keep it kind of mild at this point. So I'm just going to get all of these prepped. Now this dish is traditionally made with holy basil, which can be kind of difficult to find here. So I'm actually going to use regular Italian basil for this dish. That's what my local farmer's market had available today. So I like to use the freshest that I possibly can. This is actually one of my favorite dishes to make. It's very simple in many ways. There aren't a huge amount of ingredients in it, but the flavor is absolutely amazing. And I usually serve it with either lettuce or rice, and sometimes with both, because I like to put it in the lettuce cup and eat it that way. So I'm just finishing up the red peppers here. And then I'm going to, I had some of a red onion left, so that's what I'm going to use in this, but you can use any kind of onion really. And I'm just going to slice this up also. It's kind of an awkward cut for me on this onion. Usually I cut them in half and then slice them long, but this one I had cut a piece off of it, so it was a little bit chonky in different weird spots. So, but it's okay. It'll all be good once it's in the dish. And then I have a lot of garlic. As you know, I like a lot of garlic, so this is actually more than what a traditional recipe would probably call for, but I really like the flavor. And I'm just going to roughly chop that because I don't really want it minced. I happen to like the texture of the garlic in the dish. Get this all nice and chopped up. And then I've got my nice basil there that I got at the farm stand. And it's kind of neat because what they do is they grow it in, I think they grow it hydroponically. So they have, it comes in a little bag and it's attached to the root ball. And it just helps it keep it fresh. And they sell it in these bunches, which are really nice because it makes it much easier to just pull it off. I have grown basil in the past, and that's great too. It's really great to be able to go out in your own garden and get your own basil and cook with it. I haven't been doing as much gardening these last couple years. Still getting used to a new climate zone from where we moved, so it's a little bit tricky. And I also have a yard with a lot of shade, so anyway, just finishing up that basil. And I usually save the stems for my bunnies as a treat. They love it. And I like a lot of basil in this dish as well, so that's quite a bit there. Now I'm going to put the sauce together, and it's very simple. What I have there is soy sauce, chili garlic sauce, and fish sauce. And I'm going to add some brown sugar right there. And then I'm going to add the chili garlic. And you can add as much or as little as you like, depending on how spicy you like it. And then I added all the soy sauce and the fish sauce. And I also added a little squeeze of lime. I'm going to grab some green onions and get those chopped up also. These are some really lovely looking green onions that I got at the farm stand also. Nice and crisp. I'm going to get my rice started. I like to use jasmine rice. It's my favorite kind of rice, to be honest. It's my all-purpose rice. So I'm going to just give it a rinse a couple of times here and get it to get the water pretty clear. And then we're going to get it on the stove. Check in there with my finger. And I'm going to bring that up to a boil. And then once it boils, I'm going to pop the lid on it and turn the heat down and cook it for approximately 15 to 20 minutes. Give it one good stir before I put the lid on. And there we go. Okay, and our rice is done. Looking good. I'm going to take that off the heat and let it sit for a few minutes, and then I will fluff it after a couple of minutes. So now we're ready to get started. I've got my wok heating up. I've got my rice fluffed. I'm using pork in this particular recipe. I usually do use beef. I know people use turkey. Whatever kind of ground meat that you want to use will work. I just happen to have this amount of ground pork on hand, and so I decided to make this with ground pork this time. So I'm going to just break that up and start browning it. I know some people have those little, I don't know, I call them stompers. That they use to break up their meat. I'm kind of like, I don't know. I'm not a big one for having like single-use items. I guess you could use it to mash potatoes too. But I usually just use a spoon or some other kind of utensil to break up the meat. And I'm just going to keep working this around a little bit while it gets brown. Get my mise en place ready. And you can see this is very simple. It's got 5 ingredients and then the sauce mix, which makes it 6 with a couple, but all together. So it's not super complicated, but I have to tell you, the flavor of it is absolutely amazing. Okay, we're getting ready. It's looking pretty good there. Something I'm going to do here that I would not normally do with this dish, but I decided I would do it since I had it on hand. I have made lab gai sometimes, and I have a toasted rice powder that I make and use in that. And I had some that I wanted to use up because I didn't want it to get too old. So I actually ended up putting it in this dish as well, because I felt like the flavor profile was going to be pretty similar to lab, and so it actually worked out really well. It added a little bit of toastiness to the base flavor that I really liked. So here we go, the onions going in, and my red peppers. You know I like colorful food. Get those all nice and stirred in. And you're not cooking these to the point where they're mushy. I mean, you want them to be a little bit crisp. So let those guys cook for a little bit, maybe like 2-3 minutes. Stirring occasionally. Get my garlic in there. And you know, you could probably add other vegetables to this as well. Green beans might be a good addition. It's entirely up to you. Okay, so this is the toasted rice powder there. And I'm just going to, here in a minute, sprinkle a little bit in there. Also because I felt like the pork was a little bit, had a little bit more moisture in it than the beef typically does. And I felt like the rice powder would be helpful in absorbing some of that liquid and at the same time retaining the taste. Let that absorb a little bit. A little bit more. Okay, that's looking really good. It's smelling really good. And now I'm going to add part of my basil. I want to keep some out so that I have a fresh element as well, but I want to get that taste of the basil into the dish. And now my sauce is going to go in. And I'm just going to toss that with the sauce. Oh, it looks so pretty. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of black pepper. And I didn't really need any salt in this. I mean, there's soy sauce in there. There's also fish sauce. And both of those things have a very salty umami flavor. So I didn't feel like I needed to add a lot more salt to that. And I'm just going to add the last of the basil leaves. Toss it one more time. And at this point, I've turned the heat off. I'm going to add my green onions as a garnish. And there you go. And now this is how I would plate it up. I love to get fresh lettuce from the farm stand. This is a butter lettuce. And then I will take a little bit of rice and put it right there. And that jasmine rice had such a beautiful scent to it. And then I'm going to fill the cups with the mixture. And you can see just how pretty this is. And it's so fresh with the lettuce. The lettuce adds a nice bit of crunch on top of the vegetables that are still a little crunchy as well. And it's just absolutely delicious. And that's my version of it.